Right, well, we're just about 100 miles now off Lunenburg. Went through the transitions during the night that we'd expected as per our forecast. The wind was from the southeast, it went southwest, then it went west, and now it's just coming around and starting to come all the way around to the north. So by the end of the day it should be in the northeast. So we've got a big change, and a very positive change, because the southwesterly was great, but we are trying to go, you know, into Lunenburg, which is to the west of us now. This is just freed up massively into a lovely reach. So very happy about that. Couple of reefs, couple of headsail changes during the night as we went onto that beat. And then the thing this morning, I captured a little bit of footage, which I'll put in here now, of whales just off the starboard bow, and that's the marine animal, not the place. That would be a pretty awful piece of navigation if I just sighted whales. So here we are, just on the beat again now. Just been doing a few bits, tidying up the elastic that holds this part of the kind of porch in place. It's almost stupid to do it because I'm going to be in within 24 odd hours, but you know, it's irritating when I open this door and it keeps catching on this all the time. It's like, I can fix that. Like, I don't need to tolerate anything being wrong on this boat. There's nothing here I can't fix. I just keep looking at these bags, which have always been very sad the entire time I've known the boat, and I realized the other day that there's a little kind of bit of vinyl here, and Dacron on top of it is a hole, and the hole goes through to this side where there is this bar and this little lashing securing point. So when I looked at the pictures of how this is meant to be, this is obviously meant to attach, you know, into there firmly, and then onto that pad eye at the back, and then there are pad eyes in here. So this should be a very strong setup, but it's got mushed a bit by the fact that they've made this addition to the floor. The floor should be down at this height, and then someone's put this on to lift this up. I'm definitely going to remove this because I find the winch is a little bit low, and when it's heavy weather, it's really nice to be in this cockpit. You know, it's pretty protected as it is now at this height, but if that goes down by what is probably 4 inches, that's going to be right on my hip, and that's going to be feeling very, very protected when I'm in the cockpit, and the cockpit edge is the cockpit combing is at my hip height. So that's coming off. You can see also there's like a little step here, which would have been to step from this floor up and then onto there. Then that's where the jack stays are going forwards. A little bit of breeze, so just make a course correction there. That's good. We're trying to come up now. We are on the beat. It's going to free off, but we want to get as close to course as possible. So yeah, we're just about there. A few little projects still. This, if you don't know NKE systems, this funny thing here is the remote control that controls from my lovely sitting position over here, controls these displays, these TL25s, and it displays also, it can display remotely what's displayed on all of these things, but specifically there's no way of interacting with this. It's totally smooth apart from this thing. Now this thing, 4 out of 6 buttons work. And Meatloaf mentioned 2 out of 3 ain't bad. He never said anything about 4 out of 6. I cannot get this to read anything other than the boat speed, which we don't have because none of the speed sensors are working. Dead reckoning, which I don't want, and it's never said anything other than this anyway because it needs that. And true wind direction, which can't read anything because that's missing. So I would love this just to say like speed and course over the ground and I know, apparent wind angle, and then I can put other things over on these other displays and always know where the speed is. But anyway, I have to continue to be a dream because without that remote, this is not cooking. So. Well, the sun's going down, and we're just getting into the final part of this journey now. Just on about 65 miles to go into Lunenburg, just getting into the first of our coastal traffic, things that are going out of here off to St. John's. And actually, as I look now, Yeah, we've got about maybe three little boats on the horizon, so we're getting there. I can't quite see land yet, although we're actually only about 20 miles off land. It's pretty low lying, so I can't see anything. Oh, hey, actually, whoa, hang on. Over here. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Yes, we can see land. Excellent. Okay, cool. So we have crossed the Atlantic again. Hurrah, that's 24 or something. 26, I don't know. So, just looking, we've got a little job here that we're doing. We've got, these are some new lashings. Very simple. I'm not trying to get prizes for, this is just literally to hold the knackered old, doesn't even fit right bag, which I don't want anyway. That's there, and then this is what was on there. So I'll be mortally offended if you think that mine are actually worse. So, and then in here we've put a little line, fed this line in here, so these got a bit of tension, a little bit of structure, and they come in here through to this lashing point. So couple little things there, mostly vanity, I have to say, because really, you know, we're going to be in very soon. Oh, I also did see these little patches. This is sail repair material. It's got Dyneema in it. It sticks onto those black sails. You can see the patch behind. They were Kevlar, these, and these are, you know, this won't do, but I can cover up a bit of old sticky crap, nastiness. So, you know, you can't put lipstick on a pig, but any positive change has to begin with pride, and if it's pride that's just letting you tidy things up and sort a few things out, I don't think there's anything bad with that. And the reason for that is that, you know, I know people are there, and the press will probably come down, and there's certain angles you can look at something where it looks pretty good, and there's I can't get rid of this sort of thing, but there you go, I can do what I can do, right? Oh, the other thing that's a change as well, look, see, I've got my life jacket back on now. We're within, and we have been for a little while now, within the kind of range that a helicopter's likely to come and rescue you from. So in my pockets I have got my VHF. This is my kind of coastal rig. Little VHF in here, and on the other side I've got my PLB, which is my personal locator beacon, which is a satellite beacon. Okay, and inside my life jacket in here is my AIS beacon. So if I was to make a mistake this close to land, it would be terribly irritating to not be rescued. So normally when I'm at sea, I have my belt on, and that's got my elastic thing on, and I try and clip on as much as I can when I need to. That's because there's no point wearing a life jacket as a solo sailor, because no one's going to come back and get you. So you could argue, well, if you've got a PLB, and yeah, maybe, but it's pretty cold water, and unless I go in wearing a dry suit, I've only got 2 or 3 hours, and there's no ship going to get to me in 2 or 3 hours, or it's very unlikely. So here we come. So that's cool. So that really is honestly just my first sight of land. I had my head down looking at that job for an hour. That's great, cool. And look, the sun's out. What could you ask for? This is what being at sea is all about. You go through your trials, through your tribulations, you deal with problems, you make mistakes, you rectify them, you keep moving forward, you change your mainsail halfway across, and here we are on another continent, approaching another country, having made it all happen ourselves. No one flew us here, no one drove us here, just made it happen ourselves. So pretty happy with that. There'll be a few more bits and bobs now, but really we're getting to the end of the trip. And I don't want to get sentimental about it, but there really is nothing like arriving in a new country, having crossed an ocean, dealt with your problems, and having done it all under your own steam, whether crew or without, but without all of the trappings of the modern world. You know, we think the world's so small now, everything's at our fingertips, but when you've made it happen yourself, you've been through the weather, you've been through the waves, there's nothing like getting to a whole new country under sail. Okay, so we're into the final couple of miles now, and we've got to get a couple of details sorted out before we hit the land. got my paperwork all ready for immigration and customs, and I've got my passport inside there as well, and I've got the appropriate visa for Canada. The other thing I have to do is I have to display a yellow flag, the Q flag, Quebec flag, and that asks for free pratique, for the ability to enter the country unimpeded, and that states that you have no issue why you should be stopped from entering the country. If you are going into a country and you've got plague on board, you've got some situation whereby you can't enter the country, then you put 2 of those flags up, a Q over Q, and that means I have plague on board and I want to go to quarantine. But I realized about 24 hours ago that I actually don't have a Q flag with me. My little bag of flags that I normally travel with did not make it onto this journey. So in the great traditions of every trip I've done, and I'm thinking now of my great friend Donna Atkinson cutting up her t-shirt as we went into Brazil or whatever it was, you have to make a flag out of something yellow. So yellow options were cut up the bag which holds all of the paperwork for the NK autopilot system. I was happy to do it, it is a very nice bag, but then I realized that it's actually lined with black, so it would have been yellow on one side and black on the other side. The other option was to cut up the bag which has all the safety gear in it, which is not a very good idea. So what I did is I took one of those little pockets out there that have the winch handles in. Remember these guys here? And I took one which had already started to rip apart a little bit, and we have made a very nice little Q flag, okay? It's not perhaps the most giant of dimensions, but it's got somewhere to tie it on, and I can fly it on my starboard shroud, and I can indicate that I'm asking for free pratique, and give the situation the respect it's due. You know, we are entering another country. When you stand in line to go through the immigration at the airport, no photos, remove your hat, you know, speak with politeness and some decorum to the officer, no photographs. And as these guys come on board the boat now, you know, they are coming in as government officials to check you out, check the boat out, see what's going on, what's the story, what's happening with this boat. And it's great to have a nice clean boat, have all the paperwork they need, have a great attitude, got your flag up, and it normally passes off so easily. And I say normally the countries I go to are places like Canada or Spain or France or England or America or wherever, but there was a time in my life when I used to travel to further flung places in the Far East. I'm thinking like of Vietnam, and like the first time I pulled in there, they fined me $200 because I parked in the wrong spot. Okay, no problem, I'll learn that lesson. Next time they fined me $200 for illegal use of a dinghy, because I used a dinghy to get from the boat to the shore before they had issued me a license for the dinghy, which I could only get when I was on the shore, but I couldn't get to the shore because how do I get to the shore if I don't use a dinghy? The next time I went, they fined me because one of my passengers was, what nationality was it? It was something really odd, like it was Japanese or something like that. Whatever it was, what I realized like the 5th time, I went in and said, I'm sure there's a fee for me coming in at this hour of the day, like midday, and just gave them $200, and then I didn't get fined for anything. And then I learned from there on, in the Philippines, yeah, hi, oh, it's about $100 for customs. Oh, I'm sure, yeah, absolutely, that's a very fair penalty. And $100 for immigration, yeah, no problem at all. And it just greases the wheels of what's going on. $100 was enough, but I gotta say, like getting your boat impounded with a $30,000 get out of jail card, these are the horror stories we don't want to hear. So it could be a bottle of booze, it could be a packet of, a box of cigarettes, it could be tinned food some places you go, it could just be stamp every one of these things and get them all chopped and then get them all stamped again and then get them triplicated and quadruplicated, and whatever it is, whatever the deal is, you do exactly what it is you have to do, because if you don't, you're on the wrong side of the game. You've got a very expensive thing around you which they can take away from you perfectly legally and then make you play the game with them. So the great thing with Canada is that the border protection aren't into any of that kind of stuff. They just want to make sure things are safe, that they're legal, and they are absolutely there to help you out as much as possible. Though I am reminded of a trip I did to St. John's, Newfoundland, and we arrived at 3 in the morning, and the immigration came down at 3, and it had been a really nasty beat on the way in, like upwind and 40 knots, and I had been intending to do the paperwork like throughout the voyage, and as I arrived there, well, they passed me what were commercial forms which required triplicates of the passenger list, triplicate of the something else. Anyway, I had to put every single person's name and every person's birth date and country of origin and passport information, all of it on 3 forms for one whole load of stuff and on 3 forms for a whole other load of stuff. So I got to write it out 6 times, and there's 12 passengers. 12 crew, sorry, not passengers. And by the end of it, at 3 o'clock in the morning after this, I was a wreck. And the immigration waited so politely, so nicely, chatted with the crew, found out what we've been doing. They were awesome. Gave all the paperwork, fine, stamp, 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 all done, great, thank you very much. It was then by 5 o'clock in the morning, sun's coming up, and as they were leaving the boat, what I meant to say was, I'm sorry I'm so stupid, it must have made your job so much more difficult. And I ended up saying to these 2 guys, I'm sorry you're so stupid. Whoa, they like stopped in their tracks and looked back at me, and then luckily, because they're Newfoundlanders, they started laughing. I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, you got to be careful, but these guys are good as gold down here. I just wanted to say thank you very much to everybody who's been watching this series so far, who's been enjoying this journey along with me. Those people who have liked and subscribed. I never knew when I filmed these who exactly it was I was talking to, but I was so happy to share what was going on, and I've been really uplifted by the fantastic response I've had. So thank you very much, and there'll be much more Mariner going forward. Well, here we are, and we're very close to the end of the journey. So close, in fact, that what's this? I'm outside the boat. We're here. Thank God it was very, very light airs, and it's like basically still calm here, because something stuck in one of the blades of the propeller and it won't open properly. So I just come in here at like 1 knot. I was worried I was going to run out of the last 20 litres of diesel before I got here, but no, she came in absolute flat calm conditions. This little sailing yacht over here was very close to in the way, so we had to do a very careful arrival. That's why it's still hanging off the dock like this. It's still not quite parked yet, but there she is. We made it. 2,500 miles, 12 days if you round down. Look at the amount of fenders I got. I had no idea what the conditions would be when I got in here, so I just fended right up. Didn't need any of them, could have saved my effort. Right. Oh, let's get it tied up. I've had a shave, look at that, see that? I had a shave. And let's call the immigration and let's get this thing Canadian as soon as possible. Right, another one done. Yeah, there we go, that's it. If you enjoy these videos, if you like learning about this life at sea and the comings and goings of me, the mariner, what else can I call myself? Like, I'm out here all the time, right? Give us a thumbs up, give us a like and subscribe, and let's do some more of these, and I can share whatever it is I know and learn, no doubt, from you guys. But for now, it's just Falcon, and a fantastic result for us. Her first transatlantic, her first sailing of any sort in 12 years, and the worst thing we did was I dropped a bottle of bolognese and spilt it all over the floor. Cheers for now, bye bye.